The time is now 10:36 in the morning on this beautiful Friday morning, April 12th. 2019, just in case you forgot what year it was. And it's time for a brand new segment here at On the Road Busan with a brand new reporter, but not just a reporter, an expert, if you will, travel expert, Dennis Feeheley in the studio for the real tips. Good morning.
Hey, great to be here.
Lovely to see you here. Lovely to meet you. This is the first time.
Yeah.
So exciting. A little bit nervous now, So why don't you introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us about you and about your travel experience?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Dennis. I've been kind of a world traveler most of my life.
Yeah.
I've traveled to maybe about 55 countries, a lot of different areas of the world, a lot of remote places. And I'm also the author of a travel book. It's a travel memoir called Travelin Across the Sahara and Beyond. Actually, this week it just reached number 10 on Barnes & Noble's bestsellers in my category.
Nice.
But the book is about an adventure I had when I was traveling. When I was 19 years old, I hitchhiked across the Sahara Desert. It was kind of an amazing adventure.
What? When you were 19?
Yeah, very young.
You hitchhiked across the Sahara Desert?
With almost no money.
Wow.
Lived on $6 a day.
Did they even have... Did you hitchhike on camels?
Well, just there was very little traffic, and we had no idea. It was my brother, and there's no buses, no trains, so it's the only option.
Right.
I don't think anybody's ever done it before. But every time a car would come by, they're just shocked to see these two foreigners, and they pick us up.
Yeah.
There are very, very few cars, but it was the best hitchhike I've ever had.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so I would like to take you back just briefly, because before I get started on when you started traveling.
Yeah.
You're in Busan now.
Yeah.
This is your home? Is it your base?
Yeah, I've been here off and on for many years.
Yeah, okay.
I was here, I left, and I came back a second time.
Yeah. So you're here. What are you doing here?
I lecture at a university and also coordinate a internship program for students going overseas. America and Vietnam for jobs.
Very interesting. Very cool. So basically,
Yeah,
you're the travel expert and you're facilitating other people.
Yes.
To go and have
exactly.
adventures.
Prepare them to go overseas and live in the environment and adapt themselves and so forth.
Interesting. So you hitchhiked across the Sahara with your brother when you were 19.
19
you
years
must
old.
have started before that. That couldn't have been your first adventure.
No, we started. I started when I was 16 was my first actual trip.
Okay.
My brother and I, we took a trip across America. I was in high school. He was in high school.
Yeah.
We drove from Michigan, my home state, all the way out to California, Las Vegas, down to Mexico.
Yeah.
Back up to San Francisco and across America for 2 months.
Yeah.
And I thought that kind of get my desire to travel out of my system.
Yeah.
But it had the opposite effect.
It
I just knew I wanted to travel.
It fed it. That's the thing.
Exactly.
You caught the travel bug.
Exactly. When I was very young.
It can do one or the other,
Exactly.
can't it? Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Okay, so you said 55 countries.
Yeah.
But this is quite an astounding kind of statistic. I don't know. But at the age of 21, you'd visited over 30 countries.
Yeah, over 30 countries. And I paid every dime myself. It was very tough. I did it very, very cheaply, though.
Yeah.
And that's where I learned. I lived and learned. I made a lot of mistakes, but I learned good safety tips, And actually, all my travels were paid for by a little home restaurant in my hometown.
Yeah.
I'd come back home off my trips and work maybe 20 days, 78 hours a week, and just cook food, wash dishes, save money, go to school, travel, come back, work.
Yeah.
Did that. And, that's why I paid for it.
Well, there we go. And you've had all these experiences. So is that why you decided to put all your knowledge, everything you've learned, into the books? And
I used to tell people travel stories, here and there.
Yeah.
And they'd always say, Dennis, you should write a book about that. So finally one day I decided to do that. And then after that, I started doing a lot more public speaking and some events and book signings. And I give a talk usually about travel safety as part of my main talk. And usually that's where I got the most questions, the most interest from.
Yeah.
Was that. I was actually supposed to go on a tour of the U.S. for high schools, I think, with safety tips for students. But my wife got sick. I had to come back to Korea kind of abruptly. So,
well, very unfortunate, but I'm sure there'll be another opportunity to do that. Things are always they always give us perfect opportunities.
That's true.
They're always kind of really teach us something.
That's very true.
So we're going to be learning from you tips on travel and specifically safety tips about travel. So, I mean, you must have been in lots of dangerous situations.
Yeah, very much, because when I was young, I was just kind of very fearless.
Right,
I had no money.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, exactly. You're young, and you think there's nothing can hurt you.
Yeah.
So I lived and learned. I made a lot of mistakes. I got
Yeah.
ripped off sometimes. I had some real dangerous situations. But over time, I kind of developed just habits.
Yeah.
I think most important for safety is you have good habits. If you have good habits, you follow your habits,
Yeah.
bad things don't happen.
Yeah.
You remove yourself from a threat before it happens.
Yeah.
But you have to be aware to be able to do that.
That's the thing as well. It's a lot about intuition, because when you're
Exactly.
on the road, you're in a different country, a different culture, different language, different situation.
Very true.
But you can spot those signs.
Yeah, if you become attuned to it, aware
Yeah.
of it, who's out of place,
Right.
just somebody's watching you too much,
Yeah.
somebody kind of with you too much during the day in different places,
Right.
and you identify your threats and then you neutralize it. You get to move away from it. Is what
Sounds
you do.
very, very military.
Yeah,
Identify,
actually, the term I'm
neutralize.
talking about is a military term today.
Are you a military man?
No, my father was FBI though, and I had a lot of people that worked in different kinds of agencies and so forth.
Oh, 대박이네요. Okay, let's scrap the segment. Let's just talk. I want to know everything. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, well, before we get into our safety travel tip for today, tell us about your experiences and things that really helped you learn more about travel safety.
Okay, yeah. When I was 18 to 20 years old, I did a lot of traveling to some very kind of remote places. And so I had very little money, so I was always having to kind of hustle on the street. And through that, like I said, I made a lot of mistakes. I'd get ripped off quite a few times and be in different situations. But over time, I just learned basic habits.
Right.
And then once I got those habits, I kind of fine-tuned them, and I always followed them. When I traveled, I set a mindset. I wasn't worried, wasn't nervous or paranoid.
Yeah.
I was always just aware of my situation, always aware of my safety.
Yeah.
And develop these habits that I'm going to kind of share with your listeners today.
Yeah.
One thing, too, with the safety tips I have, it's not just for adventure travelers like I did.
Yeah.
You can be traveling first class in 5-star hotels or just your daily life. They're
Yeah.
kind of good tips to have to keep safe and keep your family safe.
It's so important to be able to, adapt. This is my favorite word,
Sure.
adaptation. And to be able to use what you learn here and, adapt it and use it for
Exactly.
this situation and another
Exactly.
situation. Even walking down into the subway station
Exactly.
in Busan,
Yeah.
in Seoul, you never know.
You never know. And
what's
it's
going to happen.
99% of the time, nothing happens.
Yeah.
But it's that one time that you got to be careful of. It's
Absolutely.
like having insurance. You don't
Yeah.
need insurance, but if you always have insurance, the one time you're protected.
Yeah.
Same with safety habits.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's about cultivating those habits, getting that mindset and preparing yourself.
Exactly.
Because that's
much
what
so.
we always say, do your research, prepare.
Right.
And a lot of people don't like to prepare. They just like to see what happens.
No, and I used to see people all the time just completely oblivious to
Yeah.
what's around them,
Yeah.
who's around them, pulling out their money, doing this, and
Yeah.
they seem being a target,
Yeah, absolutely.
for the bad guys.
And so that's it's quite a deep thing. Like, do you go into the psychology of the bad guys, as you put it?
Well, a little bit as far as like in terms of body language, reading body language, things like that are very important.
Yeah.
When I was young traveling, I was 18, 19, 20 years old. I'm in some mountain somewhere, some country. Nobody knows where I am.
Yeah.
I'm surrounded by other men or people I don't know that I'm not really safe with. Body language is very important to always
Yeah.
exude confidence
Yeah.
and strength.
Yeah.
You don't show aggression, but confidence and strength. And it gives you kind of protection.
Yeah.
And sometimes in my mind, I'm really scared. I'm really
Yeah.
nervous. There's all these people, but I tried to never show that.
Yeah.
And I also taught classes in prison, one of the toughest maximum security prisons in America. And that's what my guy that hired me said. You got to exude that toughness,
Yeah.
that confidence, but non-aggression.
Yeah.
It gives you kind of a layer of protection. And I just always followed that.
It's so true because, like what we say, the words that come out of our mouths, people will believe that, I guess
Yeah.
about 50% of the time. But our body language,
Very
people
much.
believe that instinctively 100%
Exactly.
of the time.
And,
Yeah.
and predators watch for that.
Yeah.
They look for weakness and opportunity. They see somebody looks weak, looks vulnerable,
Yeah.
not confident, look for an opportunity where they're alone, and that's where they,
That's when they
steal your money or
pounce.
bad things happen.
Interesting. Well, let's get into it. What is your first safety tip for us for the first episode?
Okay. Well, before the first tip, maybe just one thing I want to mention to your listeners is something they should kind of always keep in mind, and that's just safety first.
Yeah.
Always in your mind, safety first. How can I be safe? So whenever you're making a decision, whether I should get in this taxi cab or not, whether I should go in this hotel or follow this guy someplace or not, think of how I can be safe and keep that in your mind.
Yeah.
And like I said, you don't have to be nervous or paranoid, but just always have thinking in your mind
Yeah.
on guard.
If it's in the toolbox, that's the thing. If it's in the toolbox
Yeah.
there and ready, you know it's there and you know that you're going to be able to use it if
Exactly.
you have
You don't have to really think
You've
about
got
it. It's
the
just there.
information. It's just there.
And my first actual real tip for today is what's called situational awareness, which is a military term. They teach that to the U.S. military and to our intelligence community.
Yeah.
And it's a simple concept, but very effective. And it just means you're always aware of your situation.
Yeah.
Who's around you, where you are, is there any potential threat or danger that you identify, where's your exit point? If I'm in a room and I enter a train station, I always look at there's a door over here, there's the door I came in, I walk in a cafe, I can leave this way or this way. And then where's safe points, safe people? Oh, this people over here look kind of safe, I need help, I can talk to them.
Yeah.
And it becomes just as natural as breathing.
Yeah.
When I was traveling, anytime I meet somebody, when I'm in a situation, I'm always evaluating and just what the situation is.
Yeah.
And you identify that before something happens.
Yeah.
Is the key with the situation awareness.
So interesting. I do the same thing. As soon as I go into a hotel, I'll go and I'll look in the lobby. I'll be like, right, where's the fire exit?
Exactly.
And I'll look for the fire exit. And it was kind of, perhaps it was born out of paranoia, being worried that I would be trapped. But I used to have a recurring dream when I was 6 years old that my house went on fire. Since then, I've always looked for the fire exits, been aware of it because it was traumatic.
Yeah.
I still think about it. But you're absolutely right. And even down to like, who looks like a person that I could go to for safety should I need to.
Should you need it? There's a place or a person.
Yeah.
Especially like when I was hitchhiking, I'm getting let out in some really odd places.
Yeah.
I always look around where's some place that's secure or safe if I need to get off the street or I have a problem.
Okay, so we're looking for the exit points. We're looking to see who's around us. We're looking for safety points, people. Can you give me like a real life example?
Sure. This is what happened to a friend of mine about 10 years ago. He's from Busan. He's not here anymore.
Yeah.
He was in Bangkok. I've been there many times. So I love Thailand.
Yeah.
And he was out for the night with some friends, had a few drinks. He's going back to his hotel, which is way across town. So he gets in a tuk-tuk. You know what tuk-tuks?
Yeah.
Little taxis. And he's
Yes.
He's completely unaware of his situation. He gets in the taxi, he's looking at his phone, kind of dozing.
Yeah.
Finally, after about 20, 30 minutes, he becomes aware. He starts looking around. He's in some dark street, not near his hotel.
Yeah.
By then, it's too late. The driver stops in the street. There's two guys waiting.
Yeah.
They beat him up, rig his nose, stole his money, stole his passport, ruined his entire trip.
Yeah.
Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
But when he got in that taxi, he was just completely, had no situational awareness.
Yeah.
Just assumed the driver's taking where he wants to go.
And the thing is, that's what drivers are looking for. Like those baddies, the bad guys, the people who will take advantage of a traveller.
Yes.
That's what they're looking for. They're looking for someone who's kind of
oblivious,
not talking, not engaging, who's just like flipping through their phone, maybe a little bit drunk, whatever it is.
I've got some real good tips later for women, especially in taxis.
Yeah.
How to keep you safe.
Yeah.
Because taxis are kind of a problem. Getting in a taxi with somebody. I heard the story of the woman in America got in the wrong Uber, was killed.
Really.
But I got some real good safety tips for women in taxis.
Yeah.
Anybody in taxis.
Yeah, I like it.
Later.
Do you know, it's Friday's kind of like Frightening Friday, isn't it? Safety tips. Keep us safe from harm.
I tell people don't be worried or scared. It's just good habits, you know.
It's preparation. That's what it is.
Exactly.
It's preparation,
and
it's really smart. I've heard of people like disappearing from trips, not returning. It can be really scary, and you know, like we said, it's preparation. So you would never advise someone not to travel, right?
No, I always encourage my students or young people, friends, to travel.
Yeah.
For me, it was probably one of the best learning experiences I've had. I had a very good formal education. I studied at Oxford University and George Washington University. But I think I learned more from traveling than I did from my formal study.
Yeah.
You also gain confidence, you gain experience. And there's many things in life that are dangerous, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, like you said, preparation, you prepare, be aware, have good safety habits, remove yourself before the danger.
Yeah.
And you don't have a problem.
That sounds good, but how do you do that? It's all good in theory, Dennis.
I'll give you an actual example. This was my daughter last summer.
Okay.
She's done a lot of traveling on her own. She's very independent. She's very competent. And she went to Chicago with a friend of hers, an older friend. She's in college. And they're in Chicago doing sightseeing, going to some museums, a restaurant. Later in the day, it's getting towards dark, and they're walking on the street trying to find this little bookshop. Well, my daughter says to her friend, that guy behind us, see that guy behind us? He's been following us. Her friend was completely unaware
Oblivious.
of the guy. Who are you talking about? Oh, the guy 20 meters behind us. And my daughter said, take a look. And their friend said, I don't know, I never saw him.
Yeah.
My daughter said, well, I've seen him 3 times. I saw him outside the museum. He was at the restaurant reading there, and I saw him when we were shopping. Now he's behind us on the street again.
Yeah.
I've seen him for the last 4 or 5 hours. So obviously there's some kind of problem.
Yeah.
So at this point, my daughter made a really good decision. When you have a threat, you see a danger, the thing is don't freeze up. A lot of people freeze up and they stand, they keep walking. The more you go, the more your danger increases. So right away, she said, okay, we'll cross the street very quickly.
Yeah.
We'll change directions, go the opposite way down the street.
Yeah.
If he stops and turns around, we'll definitely know he's following us.
Yeah.
So they quickly ran across the street, started going the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Sure enough, the guy stopped.
Followed.
Crossed the street, turned around, walking the same direction as them across the street.
Right.
So now they know he's following them.
Yeah.
And then my daughter again made another very good decision.
Yeah.
She said, okay, as soon as the first taxi came by, she flagged the taxi, they jumped in the taxi.
Yeah.
They drove to another part of the city, way far away from that guy.
Yeah.
Went shopping, went about their business. No big drama, no problem. Just got away from the threat and the danger.
Yeah.
And went about the rest of her day.
Yeah.
And her friend was just completely, had no clue about it.
Yeah.
You know, so...
It's very important to be aware of what's going on around you. I absolutely agree. I kind of have similar, like, it could be there's this thing, you know, the personality test and what, if you are an empath or if you are like ENFP or whatever, like hyper alertness. And it can be in your kind of ingrained
Naturally.
in you, naturally, to be very alert, very
I think it's true.
aware of what's going on. But it can also be in you to be completely unaware.
Oh, absolutely. I have some friends... Even now, some of my friends are older and they're just completely oblivious to what's around them.
Right? So it's really important what you're saying. I love it because it's so important to just practice. It's like a skill. It's a practice.
Yeah. It just becomes a habit. And for me, when I was traveling, it was the same as breathing.
Yeah.
I walk into a room, I just take a quick look. It takes 4 or 5 seconds. I look around the room. Where's
Quick
the danger
scan.
threat? Where's some exit points?
Yeah.
Where's some safety?
That's scary. You know, 2 women on the street in Chicago. It's getting dark. There's a guy following them. They jumped in a taxi. No drama, no fuss. Just kind of neutralized the threat.
Got away from it, removed it. And
did she ever find out what that guy was doing?
No, you know, she didn't, but you don't want to find out.
Yeah.
By the time you find out, it's too late.
Yeah.
You know, he might have just been a guy that saw these 2 attractive women, was trying to maybe ask them for a date.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't think so. 4 or 5 hours walking the same place in the
that's
city.
not...
So he might have been a predator.
Yeah.
And a lot of predators, they pick their prey and then they follow and look for opportunity. When somebody gets alone, they're vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know.
One goes to the toilet.
Exactly.
One,
on a quiet street.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to find that out.
No.
We always want to take action immediately. As soon as you identify a threat, feel a threat, close the door, go to the next room, leave. And you're safe.
Okay, so we're going to have to wrap up right now. Very quickly, let's go into it. Today's tip, situational awareness.
Yes.
Brilliant safety tip. What are the things that we need to look out for when we go into an area?
Okay, just when you're going about your day, when you're traveling, just always be aware of what's around you, who's around you. Is anything out of place? Does anybody seem like a threat or a danger? They're paying too much attention to you? Where's exit points you have to leave an area? Where's a safe place to go if you have to find safety?
Absolutely.
And just be aware of that. Just
be aware.
natural. You don't have to be, like I said, you don't have to be nervous. It kind of gives you confidence. You don't have to be nervous or paranoid.
Yeah.
You just always have that mindset.
Yeah, because that will give you confidence.
Yeah, it does.
The knowing.
I got so much confidence by traveling over time.
It's been so much fun. We are right out of time.
Oh, good.
Dennis,
Perfect.
we will see you same time next week for more of the real tips, and I'm looking forward to it. Have a
Great. I
wonderful
really enjoyed it.
weekend. Thank you.
Great show. Very much.
Bye-bye. Thank
Okay.
you. A handshake. It's a very strong handshake. It is.